welcome to my documentary, The Sadie Katz Experience.
Oh, nice. Fabulous.
So we're talking about the Bill Murray experience, which is your documentary. So I would like to know is where did you come up with the original idea? I mean, where did it all start?
Well, that's a good question. I think it started mostly from the fact of I was staying up late at night, and every article that I kept reading on the internet, you go down like the black hole of the internet where you start reading one thing and it leads you to another, and everything was talking about Bill Murray and him having these like crazy encounters. So I think at first it was like a gag where I was like, well, why haven't I met Bill Murray? Like, how come that magic moment hasn't happened for me? And then I started to think I could meet Bill Murray. And I think that idea came, of course, before the documentary, that I wanted to meet him. And then, you're in LA, so everything has to be taped. Like, it becomes part of your journey is sharing that with others.
You're in the Hollywood business for quite some time. I'm just curious, like, why Bill Murray? I mean, you could have picked anybody and everybody, but
But I don't think there's anybody. I was just talking to someone about this yesterday. I don't think there's any other actor that mesmerizes people and has the same cult. You could say, like, for instance, I want to meet Brad Pitt. Mm-hmm. That would be nice. He's a good-looking guy, but is he magical? Meryl Streep. I've met Meryl Streep. It was amazing to meet her, but like, you know what you're getting. You're getting Meryl Streep. I think the fact that Bill Murray seems to have this urban legend. People talk about him being like a guru or the Tao of Bill Murray. Like, I don't know if there's anybody else that's like that out there. Can you name anyone?
I met a lot of people, so it's I'm probably not the right person to ask.
Well, I'm not a star. That's the whole thing. Like, I keep claiming this, and I really do mean it. I'm not a starstruck person. I'm an actor. I've worked with a lot of big actors. I've been to the Oscars. I've been to the Emmys. I've been to all kinds of events in LA. It's not about Bill Murray being a star. It's about, I think, what he represents, which is almost like a Santa Claus or an Easter Bunny, because spotting Bill Murray is a little akin to Bigfoot. He's a really fun party bragging right. If I walked in the door and said, oh my gosh, I just met Jennifer Lawrence, you go, oh, that's cool, is she nice? But if I said, I met Bill fucking Murray, am I allowed to curse?
No, you're allowed to do it.
So if I met Bill Murray, it becomes Bill fucking Murray. There's a certain excitement where people want to know, like, well, what happened? Because you didn't just meet him. Like, something crazy happened. And that's something different about it.
Were you a Bill Murray film fanatic before, or did you become more obsessed with Bill Murray when you started this process?
I was a fan where I loved him. Like, the thing is, Bill Murray picks his own movies, and he's really selective. So I think I was always in love with how the movies he picked, like Broken Flowers or Lost in Translation or, Stripes, but that was in his early days. Those spoke to me where I felt like he got something really different. There's a melancholy, beautiful nature. But no, once I started on the Bill Murray experience, I was like binging on Bill Murray documentaries and Bill Murray movies, and just being generally obsessed with Bill Murray, which is so embarrassing but fun too.
Which side of Bill Murray that you love more? The movies that he's actually in, or his private life, that the antics that he does outside the movies?
I think the antics are, that's what's really intriguing. I mean, he's obviously one of the most gifted, actors of our generation, and I think that's fun, and he's great at comedy, and he's great at, you could compare him to like Jim Carrey. They're these really gifted comedians, and they're also great at drama, so they're just great actors. But the difference is Jim Carrey's not doing cartwheels and like surprising people and kind of sharing in a personal connection with people. And when you think of Bill Murray, he doesn't just crash a house party for college students. He ends up doing their dishes. Like, that's fucking cool. I mean, that's a real connection of actually him being as interested in the people that he connects with as they are in him. And there's something really exciting about that.
During your entire research, I mean, there's a lot of these Bill Murray experiences. Did you manage to figure out what is actually fact and what is actually fiction?
I don't know, because that's what's sort of crazy about the whole thing. I don't want to give any too much spoilers, but when we were at a certain golf tournament, people would say, oh, this, like, there were so many stories about Bill Murray that I was like, how is it possible that he, they said, oh, he came last year and he brought up a blow-up couch, and then he took a golf cart and he ran it into the wall, and then he went out drinking with a bunch of people, and then he brought a bunch of people on the plane, and you're like, either this guy has endless energy or some of these stories maybe are exaggerated, but then people would bring out proof and you go, oh my God, he's amazing. I mean, I think it's somebody who just lives their life with caution to the wind. And so I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. What do you think?
You know what? I don't know. I didn't do an extensive research until I watched your documentary, in fact. And I was like, oh, I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But tell me about the process of you going on this journey. I mean, the easy way is just to call his agent and just
well, that's the thing, is Bill doesn't really have an agent per se, and he doesn't, so the agent that works with him, so-called works with him, he doesn't really work with any longer. So he's kind of a lone rogue warrior, and he has an 800 number. Now, in doing the documentary, Joel kind of debunked the 800 number, that he now is being a grown-up a little bit more with the phone, but that he's notorious for like throwing phones out the window and being done with it. So that's the crazy thing, is he's not a reachable actor, which is what makes him someone that's fun to want to track down, because he's so elusive. I mean, he's Hollywood's most elusive actor.
So tell me about your journey. What was it really tough, throughout this entire process? I understand it was pretty tough on you personally, but
yeah,
you honed your detective skills at the same time.
Yeah, I needed to learn my detective skills. I think the biggest thing was like, when you come up with an idea to do anything, whether like, hey, I want to open up an ice cream stand or whatever you want to do, it's really hard to get people to take you serious, especially if they don't value the idea as much. So to say to someone, yeah, I'm going to meet Bill Murray and it's going to be really awesome and you should come along for the ride, people think you're going to quit. So when you're doing it and you're trying to pursue your goal, I think when you fail, people go, okay, well, that was cute. Like, you gave it a try. And you go, well, no, I'm going to keep going. Okay. And they're waiting for you to be over it. And, but that's just not, like, I had made that, I set that out for a goal, and I wasn't going to quit until I kind of achieved some semblance of it. I don't know. Which sounds, by the way, it sounds really crazy and a little embarrassing to me now. Like, I'm going like this, oh my God, everyone's gonna see this documentary and like they're gonna think I'm crazy. But when you're in something, the only way to actually achieve your goals, no matter what they are, is to stick with it.
Now, you had a lot of naysayers throughout your documentary, but now you completed it. What would you like to say to them now?
It was a really crazy experience when we had the premiere at Amdocs, because watching it on the big screen with like a couple hundred people and realizing that I finished it, I mostly kind of felt a little bit grateful for all the people who said no. I'm a crier, so don't make me cry, but because then I realized, like, I wonder if by them saying no, it made me finish something that, in some sense, like, why would I have to finish it, really? So I don't think I feel spiteful about it. I more feel grateful that I didn't give in to that, but also maybe I had a little bit of an incentive to say, like, fuck that, I'm gonna do this, which is important. I mean, doing anything, whether it's creative or work-wise, of sticking to your guns, and sometimes energy, bad, negative or positive, is still energy.
Well, that's a good attitude to take.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, let me have a couple drinks and I'll tell you something. I'll be like, fuck you. No, I mean, I'm not always so spiritual about it, but, you know, in retrospect, you think about it and you go, well, it's good. It's still good.
that's terrific.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you probably had a lot of footage and a lot of antics that went on that a lot of us don't know. Was there anything that was a big deal that you had to cut out of the film that you wish you put in?
Well, I had a lot more of the girls, my girlfriends, and their stories. In the very beginning, we had kind of all decided to have a New Year's resolution, and my New Year's resolution was to meet Bill Murray, but they had their own, and we had done some footage, but it wasn't, because they dropped out of the project, it wasn't completed footage, so I wasn't able to incorporate that. Even though it was kind of really adorable, we realized in editing that it was really my story of finding Bill. And I have to tell you, we could have made an hour-and-a-half movie of just PJ Souls. She had the best, like, every one of her stories was really funny and intriguing and great, and she's this amazing person. So it was really hard to edit down what we wanted to have, because we're like, we can't just have an hour and a half of PJ Souls, but you could. Yeah.
So how did you manage to find like Joel Murray or PJ Souls?
Well, we didn't have this filmed, but it could have been funny just unto itself, because, you know, I didn't want to just meet Joel and throw a camera in his face, because that's a wrong thing to do. But the long story short is we just decided, we knew where he was doing a comedy show, and on the way I had the girls with me and my executive producer, and they were like, you should, they were like, what are you going to say to Joel? Because he was doing a show at Second City, or one of the improv companies, I can't remember. And I said, I don't know. And we were rehearsing, and then we got to the show, and I opened the door, and he was the first person there, and I was like, Joel Murray, I'm doing a documentary about your brother. Do you want to have a drink and a cigarette? And he kind of stopped, and he was like, yeah, all right. I think he doesn't smoke anymore, so I'm not telling on him. But we went outside, and I just was super honest with him, and then we kind of started a relationship as far as him getting to know that I wasn't completely off my rocker. So I met him for, you know, coffee or something, and he said, what the hell are you doing with my DP? And then I never really mentioned it again. And then I met him like 2 other times. He was, you know, in LA, you're either having coffee or a drink somewhere with a bunch of comedians, and he's a married man, so he was very kind, and there was nothing, you know, that was one thing, is I was like, God, he's such a genuine person. And I actually really enjoyed knowing him. He's very funny, dry sense of humor, and apart from Bill, like, I was just like, oh, you're a great guy, and I'm kind of a person who loves everybody. So eventually I was like, oh my gosh, I really like Joel, and if he never gives me an interview with Bill, that's fine. And then he finally turned to me and said, like, are you ever going to ask me for an interview for for Bill? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, great. Which was kind of cool, because I didn't feel like I was exploiting him. And he actually just wrote me a message the other day saying, you know, that I was awesome and good work. So I think he didn't think I would do anything with it. He was like, okay, I'm going to give this nice crazy girl an interview, and like the film will never be completed. I think other people had kind of pursued Bill the same way and gave up.
Did you ever get the interview with Bill?
Well, I can't tell you. You have to watch. You have to watch the doc. Yeah. I don't know.
She just doesn't want to say.
Yeah.
So ultimately, what did you consider for yourself the Bill Murray experience, since everybody has one?
Well, you have to watch the documentary, so I can't give it away. But I feel I had a magical encounter, and that's all I can say.
So no regrets whatsoever.
Well, I don't think any. That's a good question. There's things that I would have done differently. You know, if I had endless money, I could have gone to Cubs games. And, you know, I had people like sending me all these crazy things. But, you know, yeah, no regrets. Yeah.
Awesome. And after this Bill Murray experience, you have another project? Are you going to go after another person in your life, or what?
No, I think I'm done. I can't find it if there's someone as magical as Bill Murray, but I don't think so. Yeah, I'd like to be, you know, depending on how the doc does, I would really like to be a female documentarian and continue doing this. I'm an actress in my other life and a writer, so I feel like the next time my inspiration strikes, you know, film something that you live with for a long time, as well as the goal. So I think it has to be worthy, like Bill Murray.